From Colby Covington almost getting mauled in Brazil to Adesanya basically signing up to fight a fan on the spot, here are some of the most heated moments in UFC history, starting with the grave mistake Colby Covington made by calling Brazil a dump. I mean, this man is the king of stirring up controversy in the UFC. He takes trash talk to a whole new level, pushing the envelope like it's his full-time job. Now I gotta say, Colby's trash-talking game is on another level. He's been accused of having something terrible to say about everything and everyone under the sun. But his most memorable moment happened after his fight with Damian Maia in Brazil back in 2017. You see, Chaos didn't just want to win the fight, he wanted to ignite a firestorm. And what does he do? He goes and calls Brazil a dump. Yeah, that one didn't sit well with anyone. But he wasn't done there. He had to take a shot at the fans too. Yeah, that was low. I mean, he called them filthy animals. Now let me tell you, the crowd went absolutely ballistic. They were so furious that security had to smuggle Colby out of the country to keep him safe. But even that might pale in comparison to what happened with Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. McGregor sure knows how to stir up some drama. And it's hard not to be reeled in by his charismatic ways. But things took a turn when he crossed paths with Khabib. In 2018, McGregor's rivalry with Nate Diaz and Jose Aldo had already won him a legion of fans. The dude knew how to play the antagonist while keeping us all entertained. But then, he aimed his questionable insults toward Khabib on social media and, oh boy, things got intense. Before UFC 223, where Khabib was set to fight Al Iaquinta for the lightweight title that McGregor had to give up, chaos erupted. McGregor showed up at a media day with his entourage and decided to attack a bus. Yeah, you heard that right. A whole freaking bus. He threw a metal dolly right through the windshield, and let me tell you, it didn't end well. Now, Khabib himself wasn't hurt, but plenty of other fighters felt the wrath of McGregor's outburst and were seriously injured. The New York Police Department wasn't too thrilled either and charged him with disorderly conduct. I guess you could say he took his trash-talking skills to a whole new level. Not the best move, if you ask me, and things only got worse from there. Yeah, I'm talking about that pre-fight press conference between Conor McGregor and Khabib. Now, we all know Conor is no stranger to stirring the pot. He's got a knack for getting under his opponent's skin and making them question their life choices. But when it came to Khabib, he went all out. In that face-off, McGregor went off. He went for the jugular, attacking Khabib's religion, culture, and even poking at his political allegiance. But Conor wasn't done there. Oh no, he took it up a notch. He went after Khabib's family. Yep, he crossed that line, my friends. And this started a rivalry that will go down in history. Kind of like what happened with Jon Jones and Anthony Johnson 2015 was the year when Jon Jones was at the top of the MMA mountain, ruling over the light heavyweight division like a king. Sure, he had that little hiccup with a positive cocaine test before his showdown with Daniel Cormier at UFC 182, but hey, that didn't stop him from putting on a dominant performance and handing DC his first loss. So, a few months later, Bones was all set to defend his belt against the hard-hitting Anthony "Rumble" Johnson at UFC 187. The hype was real, the excitement was in the air, and the pre-fight press conference was about to reach a whole new level of crazy shenanigans. You see, Bones and Rumble stared each other down, getting all up in each other's faces, just like they've done in the past. Tension filled the air, and you could cut it with a butter knife. Things got really heated, but then, out of nowhere, they burst into laughter, revealing that it was all just a prank. Dana White, always ready to jump into action, instinctively stepped in between the two fighters, thinking he was about to break up a potential brawl, but instead he found himself caught in the middle of what happened to be their prank on Dana White himself. On the other hand, Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier's brawl wasn't a prank. These two didn't just lock horns inside the octagon, but also outside in the world of promotional madness. In the days leading up to UFC 182, Jones and DC were doing their rounds of interviews for their upcoming world tour. The hype was intense, but it was nothing compared to when Jones actually stepped on the stage. He didn't just get in DC's face, he practically became his conjoined twin with the way their foreheads were glued together. And well, DC wasn't having any of it. He shoved Jones away from him. But here's where things went from zero to chaotic real quick. Bones channeled his inner Hulk and tossed his title aside, ready to throw down. The ex-UFC PR head Dave Schaller tried to step in. But let me tell you, Jones didn't have time for niceties. He shoved Schaller aside like he was clearing the path to victory. Bones punched DC and chaos erupted all around them. IDC stumbled backward, caught off guard by the attack. Security rushed in, but the damage was done. The UFC banner and stage decorations took a beating, becoming collateral damage in this brawl. And in one of the final moments of the mayhem, DC even threw a shoe at Bones. But it didn't quite hit the mark. Instead, it struck an unfortunate media member. Eventually, the chaos subsided. DC was dragged away, leaving Jon Jones standing there in victory. But that's not as unforgettable as the iconic Kevin Lee and Michael Chiesa scuffle. In 2017, the Motown phenom was all set to throw down with Michael Chiesa in a lightweight showdown. Lee was riding high on a 4-fight win streak, dreaming of that coveted title shot. Meanwhile, Maverick Chiesa had his own impressive 3-fight win streak going on. He had taken down some tough opponents like Beneil Dariush and Jim Miller, and he was ready to make his mark in the division. So you can imagine the tension when these two collided at a press conference. And Lee couldn't resist some good old trash talk. He started yapping about how he was the big main event guy, while poor Chiesa wasn't quite at that level. But then he went and made the mistake of bringing Chiesa's dear old mom into the mix. He had the audacity to mention that Chiesa's mom bought tickets to watch them fight. Well, let me tell you, Maverick wasn't having any of that. That really hit a nerve. He was infuriated, steam coming out of his ears, and charged across the stage. But before chaos could fully take over, Kevin Lee punched Chiesa and completely intercepted him. Then the security swooped in, saving the day and preventing the press conference from becoming a full-blown brawl. But this wasn't nearly as crazy as the time Kevin Holland trash-talked Jakar Souza. Holland really knows how to talk the talk and walk the walk. He really backs it up in the octagon. He's like a walking microphone, always ready to spit fire with his words, even before his hands ever get involved. Now, let's fast forward to that epic clash between Holland and Jacare Souza in late 2020. Holland found himself stuck in the bottom position with Souza, hovering above him. Now, most fighters would be focused on surviving, maybe even silently praying for a way out. But not Kevin Trailblazer Holland. Oh no, he decided to have a full-on conversation with his opponent while getting punched in the face. But wait, it got even better. He then told Souza that he had a dream about this very moment. I mean, who dreams about getting punched in the face? Only Kevin Holland. And guess what? The universe decided to play along with Holland's dream. Because just moments later, he did the unthinkable. He started punching from underneath, connecting with Souza's chin and knocking him into the stratosphere. The crowd went crazy and no one could believe what they'd just seen. It was super unexpected, just like the time when a fan brought a megaphone to the UFC conference and got on everyone's nerves. Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya were like oil and water. They don't mix. These two were nothing alike and clashed over everything. And at the pre-fight press conference for their epic showdown at UFC 243, they were bringing the heat. I'm talking more of a friendly back and forth, and it was all fun in games. Until a fan decided to take things up a notch. This fan wanted to make sure his voice was heard loud and clear. So what did he do? He whipped out a megaphone. Adesanya, being the flashy showman that he is, approved. With that megaphone in hand, this fan started going off not at Whittaker, but at Adesanya himself. He yelled at him for disrespecting the Reaper. He gave props to Whittaker, reminding everyone that this dude went toe-to-toe with Yoel Romero for 10 rounds. And well, that just made Adesanya so mad that the press conference turned into a pre-fight trash talk between Adesanya and the fan instead. So, from the fan that almost got his butt kicked by Adesanya, to Colby Covington calling an entire country a dump. That's all I have today for the most heated moments in UFC history.